Alright, hello there YouTube. I was just about to hit the record button and the cat threw up everywhere, so that was fun. Anyways, I'm currently just setting this up. There we go. So this is a new little tutorial video. I got a request a little while back. I've been kind of putting it off since I've been busy with school and work. Just stuff, life. Anyways, somebody wanted to learn how to make this, and luckily they sent me a picture of it, which is just perfect because we can do that. So, I'm assuming he just really meant just the generic box. Obviously, we're not making exactly this, but I'll make the box, and I'll make the nose thing as well, because we might as well, since it's there. So this first video is probably just going to be covering the modeling aspect of it, and then once we're done modeling, I'll probably do a separate video on texturing, and then we could do animation last. Sound good to everybody? Sounds good to me. So, of course, one of the main questions that he had when he reached out to me, or she, whoever, is this particular aspect right here, which is this lip right here. They had thought that it was a shadow, and I mean, it's not technically wrong. It is basically a shadow. That's the top of the lid slightly lifted. Of course, we'd be modeling that. You have to, actually, because technically it wouldn't make sense if it wasn't lifted. All boxes are actually like that to a degree, some less than others, but well, some of them just design a smaller lid, but whatever. Well, shit, is that what the stream looks like? I hope that's not what the stream looks like. Oh fuck, that might be what the stream looks like. Hold on. No, the stream is fine. Okay, never mind. We're good. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted by bullshit. Anyways, let's just jump right in, shall we? So we're just going to create a box. Seems pretty obvious to me. So we'll grab the box tool and then we'll press N. And we'll just grab. So with my new setup, because I've got 3 monitors, instead of just trying to focus everything onto this middle monitor, I can actually just switch monitors like so. So I'll only be using 2, so it's not going to be too bad. For now, we'll just keep... Oh, it just did that to me. That's fine. Just press N to bring it back up if you lose it for whatever reason. For now, we'll just stick with 1 meter by 1 meter. That is a really big box, but don't worry. When it comes to, we'll edit it. We'll change that. Now, of course, in this image, we can see that the box is definitely much taller than it is with width and depth. So obviously we're going to take the height here and we're just going to increase it by however drastic amount we feel necessary. Let's go about 3 times as much. That seems about reasonable. Three times. Would you say that's about 3 times? If we were to take that, the length of this, and stack it, maybe about 4 times. 3 times looks good. That looks pretty decent. Maybe a little bit more. Let's go 3.5. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we're just going to leave it at that for now. And when it comes to modeling, of course, if you're lost or whatever, I've got like 10 hours worth of recordings on modeling and figuring out the UI. If you don't know the UI, you probably shouldn't be trying to model realistic things yet. You should be learning the UI first. Got all kinds of videos on that. So if you're lost, you should probably check those out instead. That's just my thought. I don't know. As long as it's okay. So we got our basic box here. Just standard polygon count. Nothing too special. So what we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna grab the top here. We're gonna lasso select around, which is right click, hold down right click to select all the points along along the top here. If you don't select the points, you're probably in a different mode. Press space to switch your modes. You can also click these up here if you want to. It's up to you, but I'm in the point mode, and then I'll lasso select these top points. And then we're going to press Control U. I think it's Control U. I don't know. I haven't done this in a long time. Pretty sure it's Control U. Let's see. Yes, it is. Okay, so Control U is unweld. So that will unweld all the points that we just selected. So there's not 4 points here. There's actually 8 points now. In fact, if we select them like we just did, and then press W, you'll see that. Oh, 16. Oh yeah, no, yeah, there'd be 16, not 8. I'm an idiot. That's because there's each face has its own set of 2 points. So in total, I've actually got selected 16 points, but that's fine. We don't have to worry about that. Not that much anyways. So, you know what? Fuck it. We're not going to do it that way. Whoops. Sorry. We're actually just going to select one set. So we're going to select that, and then we'll deselect those. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Sorry about that. I should have thought about that beforehand. Anyways, Control U again, but this time just with 2. Because we don't really need to unweld these other 2 points. We're going to use those 2 points as the pivot points for the lid, so it doesn't make any sense to do that. One thing, there's a few ways we can do this. We can try and grab the edge here, and then just lift up the edge, like so. You might have luck doing that. You might not have luck doing that. If you don't have luck doing that, of course, you can always just grab the face, press Y, and then pivot it. But of course, by doing that, you're gonna slightly skew the object. So if you wanted to fix that, which is very possible to fix, there's a few ways. First thing you could do, obviously, Control Z backs up. If you don't know that, again, there's videos out there for that. You should probably check those out first. But you could go by mouse here, and we can try and grab the edge on the mouse here and do that. But again, that will still affect that. So what's better actually is doing this, like so. Sorry. Yeah, by doing that. And we could even lift it back up if we wanted to. But ideally what we want to do, if you end up doing that and messing that up, what you can do is grab these points here, press I for information, and you'll get a little menu like this. Click Edit All, and then just slightly, boop, just slightly jerk that. Jerk the Y-axis, and that will instantly line up these, which is exactly what we want, like so. And I mean, if you wanted to keep accurate, you can just edit all and then set this to, oh, never mind, it's not relative. I thought it was relative to the ground plane. Whatever, that's fine then. I don't care that much. What you can do, if you want them, if I want this point here to line up perfectly with this point, you press I, and we can see that down here you've got what looks to be 1.74. Seems to be, oh, whoops, no, never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong one. 500 millimeters. Sorry, I'm just trying to read this. It's on the Z-axis. Yeah, so it'd be this one here. So one of these is messed up. It looks like, yeah, okay, so the top one is set to 419. So all of these ones set to 419. We have to change them to 500 millimeters. And that will slowly correct each one of these. Like so. There we go. But again, if you can grab the edge, just grab the edge. It's a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. So now we've got our basic thing going on here. The next step is we're just going to grab the side edge here. Of course, we can't see that because we're not looking the right way. But you can see I grabbed both side edge there. And what we're going to do is we're going to press E for extrude. And then we're going to press H for stretch. I think it's stretch. And we're just going to stretch them inward, like so. And then, just to be fancy, this is personal preference. You don't have to do it this way, but I like the look of this kind of box, so I will then stretch it the other way. And we're definitely going to extend that quite a bit more. Just because a lot of boxes are generally the flaps are quite large. So we'll do that. There we go. So we have that. Very good, very good. Next step is we're actually going to grab this here, and we're going to press E again to extrude, and we are going to extrude downward, like so. Now, what I prefer doing is I would actually like these points here, all 4 of these points here, not that one, all 4 of these, to line up with these 2 endpoints here. So we're just going to quickly go into info here. It's on the z-axis again, so that's 500 millimeters, negative 500. We're just going to grab those, edit all, and go negative 500 millimeters, and there we go. And the reason why is just because that way it lines back up. I just want it to be properly symmetric. Also, that'll make it a little bit easier later on when we decide to move it in a little bit, so that it doesn't clip into the box properly, or so it, yeah. So there we go. We got our basic flaps going. I'm actually kind of glad that that my viewer chose this, because this is pretty simple to do. Pretty not terribly not terribly easy, but deceptively easy, I guess is the word for it. So we basically have our basic shape. You could technically texture this, ship it out, and use that if you wanted to. I'm not going to stop you if that's where you want to stop. You're welcome to stop there, because it doesn't look horrible. There's certainly a lot of detail that we could add. There's the fact that if we look at this here, we can see that the actual object itself, and really all boxes, are not perfectly pointed edges. They're slightly curved. So we're gonna do that as well. First things first is we're actually going to give this a surface. So we're just going to call it box. Keep it simple, keep it easy, nothing too complex. Always turn on smoothing. That just adds a little bit of smoothing for when you add more polygons, whatnot. It's generally a good idea. And here's where we are given a choice between physical detail and non-physical detail. On a scale of this size, I generally lean towards non-physical detail, just because you can get very picky with it. So we have an option. We could go double-sided, and that will create our inside, like so, which is all fine and dandy. Alternatively, the other option is that we could go under multiply, I believe, and then it will be thicken, and we can then thicken the object like so. Now, I've always sort of debated as to whether I should thicken in one direction or thicken in the other direction. I generally like going outward, I think. Can't really remember. That's one way of doing it. Again, when you're at this low of a level, people are going to have a hard time telling whether it's physically thick or if it's just double-sided. So I'm going to lean towards double-sided. Generally, if you're going to use the thicken tool, I'd wait until the end. So I'll actually demonstrate that in a bit. So what we'll do from now on is we're going to just add a bit more detail to our design here. So for example, I like the idea of the box having these smoothed edges. So we're going to do the smooth edging. Under detail, we have edit edges. And this allows us to actually create edge loops. So if I enter texture wire here, you can see I just created a edge loop. The way I did that is when you're under edit edges, if you right click, you'll create a loop. If you left click, you can move the loop. And it will always create the loop directly in the middle, so that's always quite useful. And we'll just add another one. Actually, we won't use that one there. I'm just gonna look around. I think that's just the only one that we want, really. Now, I personally like this design for these kind of boxes, so we're gonna do that. We might actually grab that and drag that up a bit further, like so. Right. So far, so good. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to take edit edges again, and we're just going to draw it across there. And this will be our fold at the top here. That's what that'll be. And we could just leave it there for now, because we don't need to bother with it right now. Next up is we're going to add that smoothing around. So if you press tab and enter the subpatch object, you'll notice that it kind of ruins your object. So what we need to do is we need to add more edges along the very sides of everything. And there's an easy way of doing that, so we're going to do that real quick. On our multiply, we have a very powerful tool called Bandsaw Pro. We're going to grab a couple of edges, preferably 2 in the direction that you want to cut. So if I wanted to cut, say, all along the side here, along this edge and this bottom edge down here, I would have to select it like this, right? But I'm going to start with placing edges all along this edge and down and then around up the other side. So I'm going to select these 2 like so. And then when we click on Bandsaw Pro, as you can see, it'll instantly cut it. And it's put a perfect line all the way down the center and all the way around. Now if we enter N for numeric properties, we can see that we have more options to work with, including value, a mirror, reverse, uniform, clear, all the good stuff. So what we can do is we can edit this and we can move this off to the side. Let's say, again, the boxes are they're still quite sharp, but they're not perfectly sharp. So we want a very, very small smoothed edge, not a large smooth edge. But if you wanted a larger smooth edge, you can just drag the lines further away. The closer the lines are to the edge, the less smooth, like the less rounded it'll be. 0.5 seems like a pretty decent amount. 1.0 seems a bit much, so we'll probably stick with 0.5. And then we'll click mirror. And when we click mirror, it'll literally do the cut along both edges, like so, on either side, as you can see, which is such a useful tool. Honestly, it's a godsend of tool. And that will actually save. So now we fixed that edge. So if we zoom in, when we press tab, we can see that this edge is now more accurate, I guess you could say. But of course, we still have to fix the rest. We're not done fixing them quite yet. Let's fix this side too, might as well, while we're at it. So we'll, again, select the angle or the direction we want to go. Click Bandsaw Pro. As you can see, it creates our edges along the side here. As you can see, these ones are quite a bit larger, and the reason why it does that is because it's percentage-wise. So 0.5% is quite a lot more than it was here because these polygons are bigger. So what we can do is we can clear that, which will bring it back down to the middle here. And we're going to zoom in. Oh, no, we got to go the other way. So there it is. So that's as closest to the edges we can get. And you know what? I'm okay with that. That's not too bad. We'll have a slightly more smooth. I mean, technically, I think you could edit this and like go 999% and then bring it really close to the edge there. But let's not. Let's keep it slightly unique. So we won't do that. And I couldn't help but notice. Oop, let's not. There we go. Did that not bandsaw properly? Ah, I know what's wrong. Why didn't you guys remind me of that? Sorry. I completely forgot about this. So, when we lifted this top off, we forgot to weld these points back together. So if I grab that, you'll see that they're actually disconnected. And that's why the Bandsaw Pro wasn't going across all the way. Super easy fix. Surprised I didn't notice it before. We'll just grab this point here. And then on the side view, we'll actually select the same point. And that'll select all along the side there. We don't need that millipoint, but it doesn't matter. Press M for merge points. We'll do automatic because they're right on top of each other. And click OK. 2 points eliminated. That's the right amount. And now, double check. We can see that's now connected. My apologies. I did not notice that little bluff there. And now we've messed up this, of course, logically. So we'll just clear that real quick. We'll bring it down to about 99%. And then mirror. Seems good to me. That's fine. Do the same on this side. We'll clear. 90, oh, whoops, wrong button. 99.9% or 5, I guess. Mirror. There we go. And now it's created it all on like it should. Sorry, I didn't notice that. I just slipped from my mind there. That's okay, whatever. We're actually going to do the same on this as well, on these inside flaps. We're going to do it on both, of course, only naturally. Oh yes, it'll only do it to one because it can't figure out the loop to do. So we'll just do it one each. As you can see, the percentage on this is really small, so we might actually want to increase that just a little bit, just to be unique. Let's do 1%. So we'll clear, go 1% mirror. Now you can save those as customs as well if you wanted to save a little bit of time. I personally don't care that much, so I'm in no rush, really. You shouldn't be either. So, and there we go. We're starting to get that rounded effect that we kind of are looking for, so that's good so far. This actually needs the bandsaw going across it as well. And one thing I've actually noticed that I'm going to have to deal with right now is that this middle part here, we actually have to delete that. I made that a bit too early, and I think the first time I made this, I made the same mistake. So we might as well go over it, right? So we'll select this loop here, and we actually have to delete it. And the reason why is because we don't want to overcomplicate the object. So we'll just delete that real quick. That'll actually end up creating a rogue point right there. We could just delete that real quick. It'll also create a rogue point right there as well, which we also have to delete. Because we don't want rogue points. Those rogue points, if they're connected to anything, are likely to create n-gons. We don't want n-gons because they can cause issues or crashes. Let's just, stay clear of any messes. We can actually check down the middle here for further points. As you can see, there's those 2 points right there. Oh, that's the wrong direction. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like it's clear. That's good. That's good. I'd rather have it clear than not clear. And then we'll take our Bandsaw Pro. We'll select our edges first, take our Bandsaw Pro, and we'll do this edge as well. So that's why I wanted to delete those real quick, or that middle edge real quick, because if we kept the middle edge, we would have to create additional edges down the middle part, because we can't just do these outer edges. So either we end up deleting 2 loops, edge loops, and then dealing with that, or we delete the 1 edge loop early, and then just remake it later. That's personal preference. That's up to you guys. You can do it whatever way you want as long as you get the end result. So that so far seemed pretty chill. And we can take a quick look at it. We can see that's already showing up pretty well. As you can see, this here can use an extra edge loop. And for this one, we actually don't need to mirror it. So we'll actually clear this real quick. Place it down in the middle again, and we'll just drag that down. There we go. So the end result is it looks like that now. Now, of course, we want this here to be an actual lip and not a curve. So what we could do for that, so we'll just quickly Bandsaw Pro that as well. Oh, it's having issues figuring out where the edge is that it wants to select, so let's do that. There we go. Yeah, be careful about that when you use the bandsaw. You have to make sure you actually select things properly, because if you don't, it's going to have some slight issues figuring out where and how to select it. So there we go, along there, and we'll do the same on this side as well. Bandsaw Pro, except for we're going to go. What would be that? What would that be? 97.5, I think. Let's go 98. Let's bring it a bit closer. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. So the end result is that. Not too bad. Let's go back into multiply. And we're just going to grab our, oh, not multiply, detail. Detail, yes. Edit edges. And we'll just draw that line back in. Like so. Now that we can. And then I'm going to take this here. And we're going to lift that up. And we're going to see how that looks. I'm actually kind of liking how that looks, yeah. Now I recommend that we take our points here, and we're actually going to slightly pull them in. And the reason why is just so that it fits better when we slide it into there. Like so. There we go. Pretty good. We could actually get rid of the texture wire and just take a look at the raw object here just to see if we see any unusual tendencies in it. As it stands, things are looking pretty good, pretty smooth, pretty decent. Nothing's looking too out of the ordinary. One thing that we could do if we wanted to, we could actually take a look at these edges again. We could round these off if we wanted to. I'm kind of debating against it though. I do kind of like how, although what I might do is we can take this edge here. Can we loop that? Yes, we can. And we'll take this edge here and we'll loop that as well. We'll just quickly delete that. Again, we'll see if there's any one polygon points here. Yes, there are. Oops, no, we don't want to do that though. We want to get rid of these ones here. These extra rogue points that were left after deleting the edge. When you delete edge, you have to be very careful about additional rogue points that appear out of nowhere. Those are fine. Those are supposed to be there. So there we go. And instead, what we're going to do is we're going to, under multiply, we're again going to grab this, go Bandsaw Pro. And instead we'll draw that all the way along there, and let's give it a bit more curve. I've decided I will do this just because I want a little bit more interesting stuff going on with the box. I mean, it's just a box, so it's not super impressive, but why not, right? So that's 98, 90, right, 99, 98, and then 97.5 is what that should be, like so. Just some basic math going on there. So the other issue here is if we wanted those to round off even more, we would have to take these edges here and figure out a way to deal with these edges. Or sorry, these edges right here. You could, as far as I'm aware, you could probably take edit edge maybe. I don't know. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's fine. It's fine where it is. We can leave it as such. If we take a quick look at that, yeah, that looks all fine. To texture. Getting a little bit of clamping there. Take a quick look, see how close that is. Actually, no, that seems pretty good. Especially since I keep on wanting to smooth the edges out more. But then I realize we are making a box, and boxes aren't exactly super rounded, so... Hey, unless you want it to be, then go ahead. Ain't no one gonna stop you for doing that. Alright. So, let's say if we wanted to close the box, a few issues will occur. So, first of all, we'll actually enter this mode, because it's a bit easier to move things around, non-subpatched, just because it looks more accurate and correct. Let's say we just take this down, right? We just move it down like so. Right, and we can actually take, we want to take this and we want to lift it up like so. So we do that, right? And it looks okay. Doesn't look wrong. Looks okay. Especially, of course, if we, you know, let's grab this and bring it more to the middle, and then we'll take the whole thing. Let's bring it pretty much all the way down, and then we'll have to grab this. We'll bring that almost all the way down too. Now you would do something like that, right? You know, it's like, oh, okay, so it looks all right, but then you'll realize, especially if we try and move around, we might see it. I don't know if you can see it along the edge there, but especially once you get into textures, once you start putting textures on it, you'll really start to notice it. But basically what we have, because, we're just going to quickly back this up. Because this face here, this lip, is perfectly in line with this front edge, right? They're actually layered on top of each other, like perfectly on top of each other. And when you texture things and when you render things, when it renders, it's going to be sort of confused about which texture to render, whether it be this one or this one. So especially if they're different colors, you're going to run into the issue of them just being messed up looking. It's going to look weird. It's not going to work. Altogether, not a good idea. So we're going to fix that quite easily just by grabbing this. So we can take a quick look at just how much room we have to work with. So first of all, we have these points here. Take a quick look. We can see that we could grab these and pull them in a bit more, like so. That's okay. We could do that. That gives us a bit more room to work with. And the next thing is we're going to have the room between here and here. So that's about this much room, give or take a little bit. So what that allows us to do is do this. Probably about right there. And then, now when we lower it, now, as you can see, we're getting a little bit clipping action on the actual flaps here. So if we want to fix that, we're gonna have to pull this forward a bit, just to mitigate that issue. Obviously, to some degree, the issue will remain because, unlike in real life, there's no physics-based reaction going on here. But currently, based on how these are folded, that would be like the max you could close it without having to account for other issues. So, obviously, you know, that's one thing that you can just ignore or model around. But instead, we're just going to try and model around it a bit more. We could do so by grabbing these flaps here, making them a bit smaller. Like so. By doing that, we're going to give our flaps here a bit more room. Of course, another option to really solidify it is if you grab this face here And then grab these polygon, or these points here, and then just drag them in just a teeny bit. You're allowing that little bit of extra room, which is perfect. That's what you want. You don't want the lack thereof. And now we can slide it back down. And we can take a closer look again. Again, the only reason why I'm going into such detail about how to model this is I'm assuming that the person who's requested this is sort of their main object. This is what's going to draw all the attention. If not, so much of this you can skip. So much of this you can just, like, who cares if it intersects, right? As long as it looks right, who cares? You know, if it's not the focus of your animation, there's no reason to go into super OCD detail about it, because then you'll just be wasting your time, and that's like the last thing you really want to be doing. So it looks like now we can definitely fully close it. Certainly close it enough that it would definitely work. So that's good. We definitely have a thing that'll close. That's good. Step 1. Make sure it closes. Yeah, so there we go. There's our basic box object. It's never, I mean, the object itself is basic, so it was never going to be that complex. Obviously, if you don't like working with subpatched objects, you can freeze the object by pressing Control. When it's subpatched like this, you could press Control Z. No, not Control Z. That wouldn't make any sense. What's unfreeze? I can't remember what unfreeze is. It's been too long. Nope. Control D. Yeah, Control D. So what this does is it unfreezes the object. See, a subpatched object is different from a regular object, and you can't technically render a subpatched object. It has to freeze it first, which turns it back into polygons. As you can see, it keeps its level of curvedness and whatnot, but gives it proper polygons. So if you want to work with that instead, you can, but of course that's a lot of polygons. I mean, that's, you know, quite difficult to work with sometimes. But there we can have our finalized box model. Obviously, you know, there's some minor adjustments to it. Like, for example, if you wanted to make it more to scale, you can model something that is to scale. For example, if you modeled a pencil to scale, you can then put them side by side and then simply grab this and size it up and down like so until you get to scale. But for now, we're going to leave scale alone because we're just focusing on modeling the object and not worrying about scale. So the next thing is the thing that I've been excited for because I love using this tool. But we're going to model the actual inhaler, the nose thing, just because we can, because it's part of the object. Basically, it may not be what was directly requested, but why not? It might be useful to know. So in order to do that, we could make a separate object, and I'm kind of debating making a separate object, but we can leave it be for now. We're just going to quickly grab the, we want bottom left, which is that one. We're going to quickly grab the picture and actually put it into LightWave here. And we can size it up until it pretty much fits the bill. About to here. Looks good. So in order to model this is super easy to do. We simply go under Create. And arguably there are many ways of doing this. I believe, I want to say it's spline draw, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've had to do this. I'm at pen? Maybe it was pen. You have to excuse me. It's been a while. No, it's definitely not pen because that creates polygons. Pretty sure it's not that. It might be sketch. Or spline draw. Might be spline draw. But basically we're just gonna create all we're doing is we're just creating the outline. Hopefully this is the right tool. It's been a long time before since I've last had to had to use the magic that is this tool that I'm about to use. But all we need is an outline. This only works on objects that are circular or round, like this object here. It does not work on complex. It's hard to tell if that's really like. I think that's a bit curved in like that. I think. That's what it seems like to me. Obviously we don't actually want this. We want this to be flat. I don't really remember how to make it flat. Maybe it's sketch. You have to excuse me, it's been a long time. Oh no. No, sketch is a bit too... Well, sketch isn't too bad, actually. Let's do sketch. I don't think it really matters what tool you use as long as it's a line, basically. You see this pretty bad rendition of it. I just want something a bit more straight along there. Fuck it, we'll do it live, right? That's basically what I've done with this. I've done almost no preparation for this video whatsoever, so hence why it's so iffy. Now, of course, if you wanted to do, because there's the actual physical part that goes into your nose, but there's also this little cap that goes over it. Whether or not you want to, you know, model that cap or not, that's... At the end of the day, that's purely up to you. Wow, that color scheme is really bad. What's the button to change the color scheme? There is a button for that. It's been a long time since I had to change it, though. No, I don't remember. We'll have to make do. I'll just randomly grab until I find one. But basically, we're just gonna get the rough shape. Obviously, if you're doing it yourself and you want to be very accurate with it, like, go ahead. You know, I literally don't have time to sit here and perfect this. So, as much as I might want to, it's just not really a massive option. We don't really want that curve. I swear there is a tool, as far as I recall, that should allow us to... Okay, there's 2 points there. I'm just having issues grabbing one. There we go. Again, you know, you can add more points to make it less rounded in certain areas, but not too much of an issue to have rounded parts on your object, so. I'm just trying to blow through it a little bit quickly, that way I can stop the video and you guys can do your thing, model your object. It's one of my favorite tools. If this is, God knows my luck, it'll be like, oh, I used the wrong fucking pen tool for it. Oh no, that'd be the worst. I feel like an idiot. Okay. So far, so good. So this will be the bottom. Now for the bottom, we can actually maybe do a curve inward. That'd be kind of interesting. So for the bottom, we'll bring that like so. And then we'll bring that up like so. So I'm about to show you guys the most powerful fucking tool in all of LightWave. Oh, I don't want to do that. There we go. So this tool is amazing. First thing first, we're just gonna even this out on the what axis? The Z axis? The Z axis. We want to even it out like so. And then I think we're just gonna quickly get rid of this display because that's starting to piss me off. I think if I recall, we actually want these 2 points to also be on the x0, or sorry, y or z0. We want it to basically be 0, 0. Obviously not y0 because then they'd be touching each other. Hopefully this works. Pretty sure I'm using the right tool. And then lathe. Oh my god, lathe. Lathe is a godsend of a tool. Boom. Instant. Obviously, why? Offset. Look at that. Oh my god, look at that. How can you... How ridiculous is that? Like, look at that. Boom, fountain. Boom, different shape fountain. It's such an amazing tool. Look at that fountain I just made, or a dish, or a plate, or a platter. Oh my god, and it's not even the same object. And yet, you're just capable of creating, like, just instantaneous. You can create these crazy fucking wild-ass things. So, offset Y. I don't even think that changes anything because it's based on the way it's designed. But 0 and 0 should make it so that those points along the top and the bottom intersect. We can change the number sides, obviously, you know, if you want something a little less intense, because it does have a lot of polygons by default. You can always decrease that. Start angle, end angle, of course, that changes how much of a complete circle it's creating. So if we reduce that, we can see that you can actually create half an object, you can create a quarter of an object, which is kind of cool, to be honest. Of course, you could change the angle at which it's made. If you drew it in the y-axis, generally you use the y-axis. To bring this up, of course, it's the same thing as usual. You use the N key for numeric properties. So, but I might go with 8 sides, maybe 12, just to give it some more natural rounding. Fuck, let's go 24. Fuck, let's go 24. Why not? Why not? Let's just go wild. As you can see, all the polygons are flipped. That's fine. We could just press F, flip them back, and boom. there's our little puffer. Like, look at that. If he made this in Blender, I watched a guy make a glass in Blender, like a cup, and he spent like an hour making this cup. And I'm like, dude, just like LightWave, just lathe it, like draw an outline and then just lathe it. Like I don't know if every software comes with that. It should, because it's such a powerful tool, especially if it's like, oh, it's just a round object. Why can't the computer figure that out, right? If it's a perfectly round object. So LightWave does. Now again, yeah, like I said, you could go in, you could edit those lines a bit more, you can delete them. I'm pretty sure you can even just add points to it. Like there's an actual tool in here under multiply, I think. As far as I'm aware, you can just add, like right here under subdivide, add points. I think you could just add points to that line that I was creating. If I recall, it's been a long time since I've had to look at that. But look at that, you can even subpatch it. You can fucking look at that. How fucking epic does that look? Like just instantaneous, you have another object that's high detail, very smooth. Again, it's sort of based on, so when I was creating that and drawing that, you saw how many points it had. The amount of sideways polygons that you have going across is somewhat loosely based on the number of points you have in that line. So obviously if you wanted it to be less complex going across, you'd have less points going across. But just like that, you know, obviously if you wanted to create this this slightly clear cap, it's the same deal. Just draw a quick shape. Like all you need for that is like 3 points, maybe some additional points so it's not super curved, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points at most for creating the cap, and it will just instantly create it for you. It's my favorite tool to use. It's super like not used very often because to some degree it's not very good because, like I said, it makes very complex objects. But if your object is a fucking cup, like why do you need so much, you know, personal made detail in that? We can double check to make sure that, yeah, it didn't merge those points automatically, because there were these points here at the end that it might not merge on occasion. It even dealt with the poles. Well, there's a little bit of a pulling happening. So poles are when you use triangles here to deal with it. There's actually a way to fix that. I'm a little lazy to fix that right now. Well, I can fix it right now. Might as well show you guys. So in order to fix poles, you need I think it's an even number of these polygons going around the edge here. We're just gonna grab them and do this, and this will slightly help fix the poles. I'm using Shift Z. I think it's merge polygons, and this just gets rid of the triangles that are being used around this edge here, and that will slightly fix the poles, the polling. So the polling is you see how it ribs? You have to really zoom in. See how it's ribbing? That's called poles. And generally, it's unfixable. It's not technically fixable. The only way to fix it is to do what I just did, as well as to go into detail here under Edit Edges. Oh, wrong way. Wrong thing. How do I do it? It's been too long since I've had to do it. Oh no. Is it like this? Yes. And then you grab that and you just fucking just go ham on it and just bring it down as close as you can. Probably shouldn't have done selection on that. Or no, what I could do is just grab that and then edit all Y. Ooh, oh, I'm messing stuff up now. Oh, is it slightly curved in now? No, it's still doing okay. Oh yeah, okay, so that is messed up. I need to grab this here. Is that number 1? That is number 1. So it's Y needs to be... Wow, that is a very specific number, isn't it? So we'll just grab that. Oh, we'll copy it, and then we'll move it over here. We'll paste it. Like so. I think I messed with something, didn't I? No, I think it's fine. I think it's just OpenGL glitching out a little bit. Basically, it's the only way to really fix poles is you just make it so that you can't see them anymore. And we're just gonna do that other trick to help reduce the number of poles. So if you've ever seen that, like if you're making like an eraser tip, like or something like that, and you see that banding, it's sometimes good for detail if you want like extra detail in your object, but other times it just looks plain ugly. And yeah, that's the only technical way to fix it, is by just making it no longer exist on your object. There we go. I don't know how long this video was, probably an hour, maybe 2 hours. A lot of rambling, just sort of nonsense going through my head, but there's your objects. Again, if you're dealing with like getting stuff to close and whatnot, that's animation. We'll be looking at animation in due time, so don't worry about that. But for now, this is just the modeling, and then we'll go into texturing. And then once we're done with texturing, we'll go into animation. And the animation side is super easy. Don't worry about it. It really is. It's not gonna break your mind or anything. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do tune in next time for when I get that part done. Alright, this has been The Guardian, signing out.